This video has everything: storytelling, suspense, comedy, and real meaning. It keeps viewers engaged and on the edge of their seats for 34 minutes and feels more like a documentary than a YouTube video. It's not surprising at all to me that the video blew up and got 30 million views and is already Niko's most viewed video ever. So let's take a look at the editing. But before we get started, I'm Joe. I'm a YouTube and social media editor, and I like to think I've edited some decent videos in the past. The setup. We all know how important it is to hook a viewer by now.
This is America's most racist man, and this is the story of how I found this man and tricked him into giving me an interview. But the craziest thing about all of this is that it was all an accident.
We talked about how to hook a viewer in the last few videos, but I'll go over it quickly now, and Niko does it slightly differently by showing us the clips. More about that later on in the video. But what really creates interest is that this was all by accident. That is crazy. How has this video been created by accident? It's also really important to set up a video so the viewer understands what's going to happen and they understand why they're watching. Niko sets these out straight away. Why are we doing this?
And as I have a lot of history trolling racists...
They're our streets, they're taking our houses, they're taking the lot.
And they took your teeth as well?
Yeah, they did.
I thought I was definitely qualified to go down there to see this town for myself and find out if it really is racist.
Everything has been set up clearly. We get where we're starting from, Niko's history, and what is our aim in this video. But we also have lots of questions that we want answered and reasons to carry on watching. 45 seconds in and we have set up this video. We are ready to go, ready to get into the main meat of the video. Even though this video is 34 minutes, we are still taking very little time on the intro. This is still a YouTube audience that we're editing for, even though it's a longer video and is a similar length to something that would be on TV, and the attention span of a YouTube viewer is a lot less, so that intro still needs to be real short even though it's a very long video. I can't stress the importance of getting to the main meat of the video as soon as you possibly can. It happens in every single viral video, and if you take too long on the intro, people will click off and be bored before you even get a chance to show them the main thing that they came to the video for. Niko may know the importance of keeping the intro short, but he also knows the importance of progression once you get to the main part of the video. We all love a story, right? No matter what form it's told in. The story is what interests people and keeps them engaged. But in order for it to be a good story, there needs to be progression through some sort of struggle and uncertainty. There is so much progression through this video. Originally, we start out in the UK. We then move to the most racist town in America. And then after that, we find that it's not actually as racist as we thought. And then in this town called Zinc, there is the most racist man in America. We have had so much progression there. So much has changed. Niko could have made the creative choice to have started the video in the most racist town in America and cut out all of the travel there, but it shows the struggle they've been to, the lengths they've gone to in order to do this. It means that you care more about it because it's so much struggle. It engages a viewer, interests a viewer, and evokes curiosity to find out what's going to happen next, because we really don't know. Anything could happen. Once we get to America, we make progress very nicely. It all goes well until it doesn't. There isn't too much struggle when Niko's just banging his head against the wall, asking one person, asking another person, and not finding out anything.
What's the name? Oh, you won't say it.
But it isn't plain sailing either, because if it was plain sailing, we'd just be like, oh, well, he's gonna get through to the end, and there's nothing to engage us there, nothing to evoke a viewer's feelings. It's just all gone well, it was simple, done and dusted. Pretty plain, bland video. So there needs to be those elements of struggle to engage a viewer and make them feel something. When you are crafting a story with progression and struggle, it's so important to watch through all of your footage beforehand and select the best bits. But don't feel obliged to use any of this footage. If it doesn't add or tell your story that you want to tell, cut it out. You don't need to put it in. There isn't one bit of footage that you get sent through that needs to be in the video. I don't actually know what footage Niko and George filmed, but I'd be willing to bet that there were chats and conversations that Niko had that didn't make the cut or didn't tell his story as he wanted them to. Maybe they talked to lots of people and they had no information for them. You don't need to include that because that slows down the story. It means that we have less time with this really good, nice group if we were to include those other reactions that were negative. Just including this one group in the game shop, it means that this conversation can play out a bit longer and gives time for us to use the third editing technique, which is show, don't tell. But before that, make sure you subscribe to the channel because I've got loads more videos coming telling you about how to edit like the best YouTubers on the platform. They're gonna be coming out soon, so subscribe so you don't miss them. And also remember to leave the video a cheeky like if you wanna. Show don't tell means exactly what it sounds like. Show a viewer what's happening instead of telling them. You can't always do this because you won't have the right footage, but when you can, make sure you're showing a viewer and make them use their brain. If they are using their brain and thinking about what's happening in the footage, they are actively engaged in your content. If you are just spoon feeding it to them and telling them it in a voiceover, they are not actually actively engaging in the content because they're not working any of that out. They're literally just listening. And don't get me wrong, voiceovers can be really powerful as well if used in the right way. But for this instance, the map is really good because we are told some things, but we're also shown things as well. And we have to work them out ourselves. Like when the map goes from light to dark, it's turning to night. And we're not actually told that, but we're thinking about that and we all know it's happened. But it's actively engaging a viewer more because they're thinking about it and working it out for themselves. The perfect example of this is the conversation in the game shop, and we are sat in the middle of this group and the camera is flicking back and forth, back and forth. And this makes us feel like we're in the conversation, learning with Niko, investigating this new aim about the most racist town in America, and we're finding that out with him because this is a long cut scene. We take some time here and we've engaged the viewer at the start, so we have this time to play with. And this scene plays out and it carries on and it engages us more because we're finding out with Niko. It could have been completely cut, this scene, and we replace it with we chatted to these guys long through the night. They told us that the most racist town was not here, it was in fact Zinc. And that would have been dramatic and we would have found that out. It's more rewarding to a viewer if they find it out themselves rather than being told it. Have faith in your viewers and trust them that they are clever enough to work it out by themselves. You don't need to spoon feed them everything. So if a scene doesn't quite seem as engaging enough, can you elevate it with some animation to show someone what's happening, or in fact a longer cut scene to show someone what's happening? Whichever way you can do it, showing someone is more engaging than telling them most of the time. Just like most things with YouTube editing, it's a balancing act. Viewers really like to be able to feel like they're making up their mind themselves about what's happening. They're forming their own opinions. No one likes to be told how to feel. That eureka moment when you work something out as a viewer can be so powerful as opposed to telling it. It's about how something is delivered to the viewer. The same information delivered in two different ways can give very different reactions from a viewer.